Aloha. You're about to see program 941. We're going to cover the third week in December up to the 21st, the very day that Uranus slows down, stops, and goes forward in the sky. It's an electric time for you, my friends, in the sky mirror. You never know what Uranus is going to serve you up. He's famous for surprising people all of a sudden, with something amazing. I just saw a guy on TV said global warming naysayers are driving him crazy, and me too. I'm starting to hate them. And just a few, people, and they're saying, well, it couldn't be global warming because look, we just had a cold spell. The guy said the cold spell was due to an enormous, powerful hurricane like they've never seen before that went up through Asia and hit Alaska with 50-foot waves and pushed all the cold air jet streams down onto the U.S. mainland. So the reason you just had this amazing cold spell on the mainland was due to global warming and a gigantic hurricane. Amazing. Uranus knowledge. That's what it is. I love it. But, it's shocking. Uranus will shock you. There he is. See, I got little shock marks all around him. He rules electricity, for one. So, it's usually always in the connections, by the way. Because what's going to happen is that as you get closer to that 21st, there's about a 20-day thing on either side. You go up to the 21st, comes down about 20 days. Most of the influence is here towards the center, but 20 days on either side, you're in the zone already, feeling a little bit alone, a little bit shaky. Well, that's the feeling of Uranus. We're going to look at it day by day and run the moon around the edge of this planetary pattern. Of course, the thing that you got to keep your eye on is that Uranus there is at 12, and he's gotten so powerful now. There could easily, be people in the streets and strikes, and he's squaring Pluto, or Pluto is up here at 12 degrees. Wouldn't be good to be a policeman. That's Pluto right now. Uranus is not in your favor. What did I remember? The radar guns the police suddenly had, giving us all tickets, and they put the radar gun in their lap when they weren't using it. They thought it was turned off. It wasn't. Gave them all testicular cancer. Eek! So, okay, enough. Let's take a look at it day by day. If you're in the Thursday show, the moon's in Leo here. It went by Jupiter in the morning of Thursday, and promises to be, a lot of wisdom and natural knowing coming out here. Now I see it clear. Happened Thursday morning. But Thursday night, look out, here's the square to Saturn. This is 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to get cold, and you're going to feel like you don't have enough, and nothing works. And ugh, the feeling of Saturn. It's not a good guy. Changes kind of fast. You wake up Friday morning, the moon's in Virgo. Yeah, and there's a nice trine to the sun and to Venus. There's some sweets, and you got a plan, and you're going to go off and do some stuff. And, I hope it works out for you. But here in the afternoon, here's the moon opposing Neptune. Trouble with liquids, confusion, forgetfulness, fogginess. Nobody likes the chemicals. The oil companies, the chemical companies, the drug companies, the doctor, priests, artists, musicians, I call them. Sometimes they're just actors. They're never what you think they should be. They all have a phony outside on them. It isn't just a bunch of people that wouldn't put their hands on things, people that won't work. That's that dude. Okay, well, you won't like it much Friday night, and it's not a good time to use alcohol or drugs. Saturday morning, the moon's still in Virgo, and you get up at breakfast, there's discovery. There's the moon trining Pluto, and we got some discovery going on. Could be quite nice. It lasts all the way through Saturday, and until you get to Sunday, on December 14th, there's a nice sextile to Saturn. That's Sunday afternoon, middle of the day, and you're getting organized, and it feels pretty good. And then around dinner time, the moon shifts into Libra here. and suddenly it starts getting tense. And Sunday night late, here's a square to the sun. Your plans fell apart, can't get nothing done. And here early Monday morning, here's a square to Venus. There's no sweets, there's no sex, can't get no rest. Uh-oh. The only goodie here is that Mars is there. You're going to try to fix some things, go do some physical work. This is the first half of the day. The second half of the day, the evening, dinner time, and so it's going to get electric. Here's the moon opposing Uranus. Now this is on the 15th. Uranus gets most strong and interruptive and interrupts things around the 21st. But this is only 6 days off. And so you're not likely to like the electric company and the media. And, do we have any unions left in this country after 2-3 decades of Republican fanatics? I don't know. But this is people getting together. Here's brotherhood. Here's jitteriness and electricness. And if you're going to have adverse symptoms of Uranus, like hurricanes and earthquakes and tornadoes and sudden power outages, it's likely to be around Monday night, Tuesday morning. As a square to Pluto, it's going to muck up your feeling of control and power in your life. On Tuesday, it all gets a little better after the middle of the day. Here's a nice sextile to Jupiter. Aha! Now we see it more clear. Got better information. Making a new plan here. Here's a sextile to the Sun. That's, Tuesday night at dinner time and after. Feels pretty good. Moon shifts into Scorpio here early Wednesday morning and starts kind of nice. There's a trine to Neptune, sextile to Mercury. Gosh, we're talking, we're singing, there's music. It feels that we do have faith in things after all. Yeah. Feels pretty good. Well, Wednesday night, look out. Here's Mars. Here's a square. We're losing our temper. We're impatient and angry. Ask yourself what you're protecting. You may make, if you want to do some physical work Wednesday night, late or early Thursday morning, make it short. Yeah, you'll get control and power back after you lose your temper a little bit here. Ask yourself what you're protecting. Did I really have to do that job? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Thursday evening, here's a square to Jupiter. You're overdoing it all. The moon's in Scorpio. It's hard to stop. Thursday night. Did I really eat that much? Uh-oh. Too much clowning around, too much noise, too much excessiveness here. It's not good. It closes down big time Friday morning. The moon shifts into Sagittarius. And it's going by Saturn here, between breakfast and lunch. And so it's going to get cold and it's going to cool you off. And, some of you might get organized. Some of you might be pretty depressed as the moon goes by Saturn. It's not too good. Not much fun. No. The moon hits the square to Neptune and there's confusion, and the music and the religion doesn't seem to help the blues you picked up here on Friday the 19th. Some of it, is due to that Uranus station. It's all about brotherhood and telepathy and the age of Aquarius and astrology, and think it over Saturday morning, because, here's a nice trine to Uranus. Saturday morning you'll understand, there is brotherhood. We are all the same. The United Nations is a good guy. We all got to work together, stop global warming for the sake of our children and children's children. Those ethics will seem natural, and you'll be heroic about it. I get angry sometimes. I want to take names and put those guys in jail for obstructing action on global warming. I think it's one of the devils, the worst devils we have in this world, are some idiot politician pandering to the right wing. No such thing as global warming. We have plenty of oil. Truth comes out even more Sunday morning. Here's a nice trine to Jupiter. Oh boy. And you're coming up on the new moon, which is Sunday afternoon at 0 Capricorn. So Sunday promises to be a pretty good day. It starts with nice wisdom and, a good jolly feeling. And then you be with somebody you love here Sunday night, Monday morning. That's the new moon in Capricorn, huh? Always make a new start on the new moons. New moon, the sun and the moon. Father and mother getting together, making a new plan for the month. Hey, let's investigate this Uranus thing a little better. No, it's not Uranus. It's Uranus. And he has rings, just like Saturn. But Uranus is the weird planet. He's different. He stands out from the crowd. He's a nonconformist. He points his north pole in at the sun and rolls along on his side as he goes around the sun. He's out 90 degrees from everybody else. Anyway, what's important here is when Uranus stations and stops on the 21st, the consciousness just goes to Uranus. The world is full of Uranus stuff. It's everywhere. Now, it just so happens Uranus does a weird behavior. When he moves up and he stops, and then he retrogrades back, and he goes back up here and goes by the stop point, comes up here, stops, and he goes back. He comes back here to the same point, the same place he stopped before. Yeah, and goes forward, and that's where he is now. He's going stationary direct at 12 Aries 31. So here's a little homework I did for you. He stopped and went retrograde at 12:31 back in July 18th, 2013. Yeah, he was in the same place in the sky that he is now stopping. Then he went forward and he went by that place April 4th, 2014. He was at 12 Aries 34 or something. And now he's come back again at 12:21 to roost at the same place. Now, considering the way astrology works, I mean, we think of this guy like a character. The Mayans had him down as the god Huracan, who was a one-legged twirling god. God just means planets. All those professors have decided to alienate all you religious people. They had millions of gods. No, they're talking about planets. They just personified them. I mean, you think of Uranus, you might think of Mr. Spock. He's a very Uranus character. So here Spock went back and stopped right here. When he stopped on July 18th, man, he had time to do some stuff. So there might have been some hurricanes here. Might have been some unions, some power outages, some earthquakes. And then he moved off and he went by this place. And he's stopping there again on the same place. So I would kind of think that a lot of the same things might happen in the same location. This is a different handle on the location thing. So I went back and looked up to see where the earthquakes were back then in July 2013. And there was a Seddon quake. Seddon is the name of the town, I guess, in New Zealand. And that was a big one. Public panic. The 19th, right on the 21st. So this is central New Zealand, okay? So we're picking out that place for more quakes because Uranus has returned. There was another set of quakes here in Sumatra. Padang, Padang, was the town nearby. So there's another hot spot in Sumatra. And then a third area that had earthquakes during this time was in central China. Dingxi was a town that took the beating on July 22nd, 3 days after Uranus stationed. So we got our eye on 3 different places here because Uranus is returning to those places. Interesting kind of prediction. Okay, I went back to my new book here to see if I could find Huracan, the one-legged, twirling, twisting, limping god. Anybody who limps is also Uranus. People in wheelchairs. Epilepsy, the shaking disease, is known as the disease of genius, because with Uranus comes this peculiar genius. Anyway, I went through that. I couldn't find it anywhere. I was very, But what I did find was in the opening passages of the book, one of the authors says that much of the stuff is focused not on an afterlife in this world, but such matters as health, fertility, prosperity, and the prediction and averting of natural disasters. The reason for the Mayan astrology, for these guys, they were practical about it. This wasn't, silly religious stuff. What is the natural disasters? Well, if you're around Mexico City at all, there's volcanoes all over, but most of the Mesoamerican, it was hurricanes. Yeah, and earthquakes and hurricanes. That was a big natural disaster. So that god Huracan, that's where we got the name for hurricane, was from these same people. Has to be in this book someplace, huh? Well, I went to the book Subject Index, and it's pretty thorough. Here's God and goddesses, and celestial birds, death. And these guys, they really went through it, but I don't see any Huracan here. No. Of course, that's the Aztec. You look under the Mayans, there's nothing there. You look under all these different categories they have here. They have a category, in fact, for everything, even natural disasters and stuff. But interesting thing, there's no hurricanes and there's no earthquakes. No, natural phenomenon. They have earth, eclipse, thunder, moon, mountain, rain, sea, sky. But where's the heck's the earthquakes? Somehow in this book it didn't come up. I'm interested in how the Mayans predicted earthquakes. Yes, I am. I'll find out. I'm getting better at looking at this. I can identify some of the day signs now. There's a simplified system of these day signs, and the more I looked at them, the more I found they look like the nails on your... I think their 20 day signs are 20 fingers and toes. And people would start to memorize them by putting the symbols on their nails so they could look. So I'm approaching this, as a very natural kind of astrology, and I think it's going to bear fruit. So I just started playing around. We've got 12 zodiac signs, and we divide our circle into 12. These guys divided it into 20. Yeah, which means that each sign, they had to memorize 20. You have trouble with the 20 signs of the zodiac? Well, here you got 20. They all have interrelationships. I haven't figured them out yet, fingers and toes, but each one is 18 degrees wide. And it's a whole different kind of astrology. And wait a minute, I got a note here. Before I get off on it and get into something different, I just found out, I had a phone call, and the people at Olelo have gotten me back to channel 54. So those of you that are on Oahu, there's a new schedule. Channel 54, Saturday, 7 p.m. Yeah, nice. They finally listened to my request. And Sunday at 10:30 p.m. the show will be playing. So if you don't get it at your regular time, I'm not sure when this changes over. But make a note. You're on Oahu? Yeah? Channel 54, it's a different channel now. Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 10:30 p.m. See, it's Channel 54 on all the islands. That's why I asked them to change me over there. And I got a better time. Much more comfortable for you folks, huh? Well, here's the thing. The real importance in astrology is not the zodiac signs. They're just measurement devices. Yeah, they're just mile markers on the road. Every 30 degrees, so you can recognize squares and trines. And our astrology is built on these angles. Theirs was built on something else. We'll have to find out. But the real essence of astrology is the planets. Whether you're a Mayan or a Greek or a Chinese or a Rollin Frost on Kona, it's the planets. That's the essence. They are the so-called gods that all those guys on alien shows, these it must have been the aliens built the pyramids. Anyway, all the philosophers, the professors, they all decided one God, and they translate an ancient society full of wisdom, and they decide that they have multiple gods, and they label everything gods, but they're planets. And maybe you could, there's angels in Christianity and stuff too. I don't know how you're going to personify them, but it's best to personify them. Anyway, here we're going to have one of your real basic lessons in the planets. And once you understand this, you can understand how each planet works and how the people that these planets represent, that they rule, work. There's 3. The circle of spirit. What is this circle? It doesn't have a dot. It's not the sun. The circle of spirit is all non-physical things. This isn't just, spiritual stuff. No, this is telepathy. This is your thoughts in your head. These are things that you can't see. So it has to do with a lot of things, non-physical things. What's that smell? Well, there's a circle of spirit. You can't see it. It's there. It's a smell. There's something there. Second, here's a crescent. The crescent of soul. When I first started reading up on astrology, and very confusing. They sent me to a Lutheran church or an Advent Christian. I was a Sunday school kid. That's what you did in the 40s. And they're talking about soul, and there's these prayers. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord, my soul. What is a soul? Well, turns out there's a lot of confusion over this. And I finally understood it with the help of the moon, because this is a moon. Yes, a moon is a face. Things that have faces have souls. They have personalities. That's your named being. If you're John or Mary, that's your soul, your name, your identity, the way, your face, your personality. Get it from the mom, copy it from her face. What's the circle of spirit? Well, spirit is that part of you that doesn't change. If you look back to when you were 5 or 6 years old, and really, your memory's perfect. You just have to keep going back. You keep trying. You'll find a time there. Examine the person inside you. It's exactly the same as it is now when you're 50 or 60 or 70 or 80. Same exact person, doesn't change. That spirit inside of you. Your named being. Most people think they are the named being. No, that's going to die. Look how much has changed already as you age. Changes all the time. The moon changes all the time, see? So the crescent is really faced souls. I call it flesh to be flesh, Yeah. Matter. Here's the cross of matter. Here's the third big important symbol to learn. What is that? It's this hard stuff, this physical stuff. That's what matter is. It's all the stuff. Money, food, cars. It's all this stuff. Now, all the planets, the symbols, and it is a language, a scientific language, are made up of these 3 symbols. Okay, now here's each of the planets, and here's the crescent of people over the circle of spirit, over the cross of matter. Kids don't care about money. Here's Venus, cares about love over money. Here's Saturn, money is first, physical stuff over people, see? Here's Jupiter, people over physical stuff. Now, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are odd characters. Uranus is actually 2 crescents here, people facing other directions. They're not looking at each other. Here's all the guys down in the shop. And there's all different religions, ages, diets. They normally don't, But in the shop, they'll start talking it over. And they're going to realize if they have a physical need, cross of matter, they need money, they need safety. The way to do it is you join a union and you get together. And by golly, you can accomplish something. There were ladies lined up by the thousands at sewing machines. They talked to each other in New York. Went on strike, fixed it. Coal miners. Men on battleships. The German battleship was brought to a halt because the sailors talked it out. The USS Hornet wouldn't get out because the sailors talked it out. Said, no, we're not moving this ship. So Saturn is scared. And right now in Ferguson, everybody's out on the street. These people are talking. As soon as you get to 3,000 or 4,000 people, it's like some kind of a magic number, and they kind of have their way if they're in agreement. And so we're seeing it right now. Scares the bejesus out of old Saturn here, the manager, the banker, the CEO, you know. Like, oh, they're all going to get together, stop the war, stop the bleeding, stop the, you know. Unions are wonderful things. But you don't need a union. All you need is several thousand people to talk it over. And next thing you know, you have this agreement. It's got to be over physical stuff. They don't give a hoot. You know, Mr. Spock and the scientists, they don't care about your religion, you know, and love and all that stuff. That's at the bottom. But it's physical stuff. Global warming's real. All that cold you got, that's because super hurricane went into Alaska and pushed all this cold air down, you know, and it moved the jet streams down into the U.S. mainland and made for a weird super cold thing. That was global warming, you know, and people don't know that. They don't know that. I just saw it, a brief thing on TV, and you know, instead we got idiots down in Congress saying, no, there's no such thing as global warming. I mean, they're putting the whole world in jeopardy because they won't. How many people do we have to get together here so Uranus is listened to and they start doing something about our physical world, huh? How many people does it take to convince a very few elected officials that are very confused about what happens when you burn things and carcinogens and air pollution and stuff? How many people does it take to convince these guys that something's going on here that they don't understand? Maybe we'll find out the hard way, huh? Gee. Hey, I need work. Yes, I want to do your chart. Even if you only have one done in your whole lifetime, you'll have it. You know, it's an engineering diagram of your body and the way it's wired and the way it works. Have somebody do it right with a little art. That's what I do. I hand draw my charts. So call me up. If you got an accurate birth time, I can do it for anybody. Make presents for your kids. Yeah, do it this Christmas. And you check out the website, skymarastrology.com/TV. It's there for your help and edification. This is an ancient science, folks. Used to be only kings had their charts done. Now you can do it. Aloha.
Ferguson 3 times during this crisis. What is the mood tonight?
Well, the mood is